The rebels are pushing into Aleppo again. They've regrouped, according to community.
Civilians in Aleppo flee deadly militant bombing from the rebel-held eastern side of the city as RT's crew on the ground gets caught up in the shelling. And this comes as Russia establishes another humanitarian pause to let civilians and militants leave the besieged areas of the city. Right there, live pictures from the scene. After WikiLeaks publishes over 1,000 more emails from Hillary Clinton's campaign, we bring you the second part of the exclusive interview given by Julian Assange to John Pilger and Dartmouth Films. And Assange says Hillary Clinton knew about Saudi Arabia funding ISIL. Britain's fear Brexit could be delayed. After the UK High Court rules, the government needs a green light from MPs to trigger leaving the EU. Welcome to Your News, live on RT International. We begin this hour with live images from Aleppo, filmed by the Russian Defense Ministry, which is right now broadcasting the 10-hour humanitarian pause in the city. It was launched to let civilians and militants leave the besieged eastern part of the city. Russia's military said 6 corridors have been opened for civilians and the injured, while another 2 have been established to allow militants to leave even with their weapons. A previous attempt to evacuate residents was derailed by militants who shelled the corridor to stop them from leaving. And it comes almost 3 weeks after Russia stopped its air operations in the area. However, the extremists are not likely to leave, as they've been taking advantage of the humanitarian pauses by launching deadly ground offensives, recently killing over 100 civilians. And RT's crew in Aleppo only narrowly avoided their fire. Here's an exclusive report from RT correspondent Murad Gazdiev.
New Aleppo. It used to be a pleasant neighborhood by local standards, until a week ago, when the rebels moved in. We were there to check up on the civilian evacuation, but barely 10 minutes after we'd arrived, shells began slamming in around us. Islamists were trying again to break into the city from the west, and multiple suicide bombers paved their way in. So the rebels are now pushing closer and closer. We're in the Al-Assad suburb, and the rebels are pushing into Aleppo again. They've regrouped, according to community. Intercepted military. Ibra, get back, go. The barrage of artillery fire was unrelenting. Shells hit the very building we were hunkered down in, pulverizing concrete into dust.
We're stuck here. I think it's better to be stuck here for a bit.
Then it hit us. If the Islamists, just blocks away, succeeded in their push, we'd be cut off, imprisoned at best, executed at worst. And we weren't the only ones to come to that conclusion. We decided to risk the streets.
Murad, come here!
Our car had been hit by shrapnel and wouldn't start. There was nothing for it. We had to keep running. We were lucky. We made it out unscathed.
The Syrian military's been kind enough to give us a ride out. They're evacuating. Die-hard civilians have stayed behind. This is broken even then.
Evacuation priority went to women, children, the elderly and the injured. There wasn't enough room for everyone, but it quickly became apparent the rebels weren't just targeting New Aleppo, they were shelling the entire city.
We're well away from the front line, but we just got a call that there are a lot of people at the hospital, a lot of wounded, a lot of dead civilians. We're on our way there now.
By sunset, 9 dead, over 100 civilians injured, including those who were less lucky than us.
This is another girl that was running from New Aleppo with us and other people. And her family were hit by a mortar. More or less okay, but terrified.
What's worse, rebels allegedly used chlorine gas shells after suicide bombing their way in failed.
Yes, now.
In all, another bloody and horrifying day in Aleppo. The difference is, this time, we got to experience it firsthand. Morad Gazdiev, RT in Aleppo.